Okay guys, welcome to the video on the triangle inequality theorem. Before we start that, we're just going to talk a little bit about the relationship between the sides and angles of a triangle. Okay, this is pretty self-explanatory. So basically what it says is if you have any triangle, right, and if I give you my sides, so let's say this is 4, that's 6, and that's 10. Okay, and these are going to be my angles, A, B, and C. So it wants to know, based on those side lengths, which is your largest angle. Okay, so what you're going to do, it makes sense. If your largest side is 10, then that means that your largest angle is B. Okay, and if you look at your smallest side, right, so your smallest side is 4, so it's always the angle that's directly across from it. So that means that C is your smallest. And then obviously A is right in the middle. Okay, so the largest side corresponds with the largest angle, and the smallest side corresponds with the smallest angle. If you forget that, just think about when you have a right triangle, we all know that the hypotenuse is your largest side because it's directly across from the 90-degree angle, which is the largest angle in that triangle. Okay? Now, the other part is if I give you a triangle and I don't give you side lengths, but I give you angles. So let's say this is 110, this is 40, and this is 30, and this is side A, B, C. Alright, so my smallest angle is, my smallest side is going to be opposite my smallest angle. Okay, well 3 is my smallest angle, and it's opposite side B. So B is the smallest. Okay, and then the largest angle, which is 110, is opposite my largest side. So C is the largest. Okay, so basically all it's saying is that the large angle corresponds with the large side and the small angle corresponds with the smaller side. Okay, let's move on to the triangle inequality theorem. So basically what that says is the sum of the length of the two smaller sides, okay, must be greater than the third side, which is going to be your largest side. Okay, so the sum of the length of the two smaller sides must be greater than the third side. Okay, so let's kind of do an experiment with that. So let's say I've got this line segment, and let's say it's 10. Okay, and then I'm going to draw this line segment here, which is going to be 5, and then I'm going to draw this line segment here that's going to be 4. Alright, so I want you to think about it. If we treat these points as like hinges, okay, and if I take and I fold down my 5 so that it's laying down here, right, that's going to be 5, right, because I'm just putting it down there. And if I take my 4 and I lie that down, it's going to be 4. Okay, so you just kind of visualize it. So 5 plus 4 is only 9, so I've got this empty space right here. So if they can't meet up, it's not going to make a triangle. Okay, so these are your two smallest sides. So you would do 5 plus 4 has to be greater than your largest side, which is 10. So 9 is not greater than 10, right? It's not. So that means it does not make a triangle. Okay, so let's do some practice problems. Alright, so the first one is giving you 4, 7, and 11. Okay, remember it says that the sum of the two smallest sides, so those are your two smallest, so 4 plus 7 has to be greater than your third side, 11. 4 plus 7 is 11, so is 11 greater than 11? No. So that means that this is not a triangle. Okay? So let's try the next one. 2, 5, 9. Okay, again, we're going to look at the two smaller sides. So 5 plus 2 has to be greater than 9. 5 plus 2 is 7. Is 7 greater than 9? Nope. So this does not make a triangle. All right, third one. 15, 14, and 10. Okay, so you have to pay attention, right? This is my longest side, and these are my two shorter sides right here. Okay, so I'm going to do 14 plus 10 is greater than 15. 14 plus 10 is 24. Is 24 greater than 15? Yes, so that means this one is a triangle. All right, so the last one, we've got 6, 8, and 10. So these are our two smallest sides. So 6 plus 8 greater than 10. 6 plus 8 is 14. 14 is greater than 10. So this one is a triangle. Okay, so all you're doing is setting up your inequality, right? So on your paper it says in your own words, describe what it takes to form a triangle. So just write a sentence real quick about that. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and do questions 4 through 9 and then come back and check. All right, so here are the answers for those. If you notice, the first two are triangles. The first two are not triangles. The next two are triangles, and then the last two are not triangles. Okay, so just make sure you're always adding the two smallest together and comparing that to the largest side. Because in some of them, like this one, they're out of order, right? They put the largest side in the middle. It's not always going to be in numerical order. Okay, so let's talk about now how you write an inequality to give ranges. Okay, now the difference with this one is it's giving you the triangle and it's giving you three sides. Okay, but one of those sides is a variable. This one's x, we don't know what it is. So we want to give a range of what the possible values of x can be. So you can do one of two things. You can assume that x is the largest side, so that means that 6 plus 7 has to be greater than x. So 6 plus 7 is 13 is greater than x. Okay, that's the first way. You're assuming that the x is the largest side. Okay, the second way is when you look at it, you're going to assume the second time that 7 is the largest number. Okay, so that would mean that 6 plus x has to be greater than 7, and then you're just going to solve for x. So x has to be greater than 1. Alright, so if you have these two inequalities, x has to be less than 13 and greater than 1, you would write x has to be less than 13 but greater than 1. Okay, I want you guys to look at something really quickly. Okay, if you take 6 plus 7, you get 13, and that corresponds to this number. And if you do 7 minus 6, you get 1, which corresponds to that number. Okay, so basically to do an inequality, if it gives you two sides and one of them is a variable, you add the two sides together and then you subtract the two sides. Okay, let's do another one to practice. Alright, so triangle, here we go. We've got 4, 4, and x. Alright, so we can assume that x is the largest side, so 4 plus 4 has to be greater than x, so 8 has to be greater than x is less than 8, then you're going to subtract them. So 4 minus 4 is 0, has to be greater than x. Oh, hold on, let me do that again. Okay, so you're going to assume, yep, so in this one x has to be greater than 8, right? Because it can't be anything else. If these two are the same, okay, your only answer is that x has to be less than 8. That's the only one that would work. Okay? All right, let's look on these next ones. Okay, this one tells you that the triangle has two side lengths. So what I would do is I would always just draw the triangle. So here's my triangle. It doesn't matter whether it's an obtuse, acute, or right. It has two side lengths of 7 and 11, and you don't know the third side. Okay, so to me, the easiest way to do is you add the two sides together. 7 plus 11 equals 18, and 11 minus 7 equals 4. So that means that x has to be between 18 and 4. Alright, so if you have x has to be less than 18, but greater than 4. Okay, it has to be less than 18 or greater than 4. Alright, let's try the next one. So this one said it has a triangle. Whoops. Okay, so there's my triangle. It has the side lengths of 15, 8, and x. Okay, you want to know what the range is. So you know that 15 plus 8, right, has to be greater than x. Okay, so 15 plus 8 is 23. Okay, so x has to be less than 23, right? And then you're going to take them and you're going to subtract. 15 minus 8 equals 7. So that means that x has to be less than 23 but greater than 7. So this is your range of numbers, because if it's not less than 23, it's not going to make a triangle, and if it's not greater than 7, it's not going to make a triangle either. And remember, there's no equal sign there, so it cannot equal 23 and it cannot equal 7. Alright, let's try number 12. Okay, so on this one, if 15 and 15 are the two smaller sides, when you add those together, that means that x has to be less than 30, because if you add 15 plus 15, you get 30. So it has to be a number smaller than 30. Okay, and it also has to be a number greater than 0, because if you pick any number greater than 0, like if you say x equals 1, then 15 plus 1 is 16, which is greater than 15. Okay? Okay, go ahead and try 13, 14, and 15 by yourself, and then come back to the video and check it. Okay, so here's number 13. Remember, it follows the rule that the two smaller sides have to be greater than the measure of the largest side. Okay? And then here we go on to number 14. Okay, here's the answer to number 14. All I did was I wrote down the inequality that they asked for, and I went and substituted in the sides for that. And then when you solve an inequality, you just solve it exactly like you do an equation, and this would be your final answer. Alright, here's the answer to number 14. It's exactly the same as number, this is 15, it's exactly the same as number 14. You're just plugging in the side lengths and solving the inequality. Okay, so when you're done with your notes, you're going to go ahead and move on to the assignment, and then I'll help you if you have any questions. Alright, have a good night.